Do you want to know how I know you have not watched the show in a while, at least not without a critical thought? Because none of what you have stated is true. Marshall wanted to be an environmental lawyer, right? His first job out the gate, he has the opportunity to work for the NRDC or to work for the corporation that represents Tuckahoe Kitty Funland. This is before Marshall knows about Lily's debt. Lily tells him, you should go work for the NRDC. And she says that she cannot ask him to take a job that would make him miserable in order to cover her debt, and that she would figure it out on her own. Marshall did not take the NRDC job. Marshall instead took the job representing Tuckahoe Kitty Funland. Again, all of this was before he knew about Lily's debt. Lily's debt did not factor into that decision. Marshall had the opportunity to do environmental law. He didn't. Then Marshall quits that job months later and he tells Lily, okay, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go get that job back. Lily tells him, no, don't do that. You were miserable and our future is not somewhere where you are unhappy at your job. We will figure it out. Their debt is literally never brought up again after that point. They don't get evicted from their apartment, so I'm pretty sure they figured it out. Marshall eventually gets a job working for G&B, another corporation that he absolutely hates, because his dream is being an environmental lawyer, right? Well, that's what he tells Lily for 2.5 years while working at G&B, when she repeatedly says, hey, someday you're gonna quit and be an environmental lawyer, right? That's what you want to do? And he lies to her for 2.5 years, because at this point, he, I guess, suddenly doesn't want to become an environmental lawyer and wants to work for G&B because they give him more money. Then, of course, his dad dies, and suddenly he wants to go back to being an environmental lawyer again. And also tells her that even though they'd been trying for over a year at this point, he doesn't want to try to have a baby anymore because he wants to be an environmental lawyer. And she tells him instantly, okay, if you want to quit your job and go work for the NRDC now, you have to do that now. I'm okay with that. So then he takes an only volunteer position at the NRDC with no pay, which then has to cancel the trip to Spain that they were really looking forward to. Then offers up their apartment for events without asking her. And throughout all of this, she continuously says, baby, you have my full support. Then when Lily finally gets a job that she likes doing, the art consultant, Marshall gets angry at her because of the long hours she's working, even though she did the same thing with him. She wasn't mad. And then when it comes to Italy, which is her dream job, she says no because she thinks Marshall is happy at his job, even though he's miserable. So many of you guys blame Lily for every single issue in Marshall and Lily's marriage, even though it takes two to tango. And Marshall is not a good husband.